This is Miss Morgan coming to you from room 235 in Littleton Middle School. So this section, if you look at the title and what I wrote to the side, you might want to write what I wrote in blue because it helps explain what exactly the golden age was. It's talking about what Muslim society was like and their achievements, their cultural achievements. At any point in the video, if you need to stop it to fill in your notes, you should do that. I expect you to do that. I only have 15 minutes to record, so I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. And you may need more time to fill in your information. So we first have the trade network that Muslims had. And trade was really important, and well, merchants, because of Muhammad. For 600 years, they had a great trade network throughout lots of different places that are listed there. And then we have what was spread. So let's start with the products, and I drew an arrow down to some products there that are listed, like sugar. Lots of knowledge. Our Arabic numerals that we use today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., was based off of an Indian number system. So the Muslims brought that to the world, other parts of the world, and it's called Arabic. It's referring to the Arabian Peninsula. All right, so we have all those things. We have some financial trade kind of topics. Partnerships, that's when you work with someone else to start a business. Using credit, that's similar to how we use credit cards today. And then the banks. We have a little bit about banks right here. All these facts here are related to banks. Making them using what was similar to today's bank checks, and it wasn't exactly like the bank checks we use today, but a more primitive version of bank checks. And then also, what's the big deal about banks in major cities? You can cash checks in different places, same as if I'm a member of Citizens Bank. I would be able to go to a Citizens Bank in Wilmington and a Citizens Bank in Littleton and cash checks because I belong to that bank. So I filled this in for you for the manufactured goods and artisans. So we can move on to page 2 if you're happy with your page 1 notes. If not, rewind, go back to somewhere early on the page and fill in what you need. So if you're ready, page 2 it is. So I filled in all the information about agriculture for you. So we'll move right on to social structure and slavery. Now, when it talks about society being more open, the medieval Christian society, it just means that you could move up in social class, that it was less determined and set for you, because later in the year we'll study something called feudalism, and in feudalism you were born into your social class and you stayed there. So social mobility means that you could change your social class if certain things happened, which are following the facts following this definition. So if you look at this bullet point right here, you can improve your social class through different types of achievements that are listed there. Okay, so then it moves on to talking about slavery. And there was slavery in Muslim areas. A lot of times the slaves were from conquered areas because you weren't supposed to enslave other Muslims. So a lot of times they were conquered people. Here's how you could buy freedom if you were a slave. If you converted to Islam, you weren't automatically free. And I wrote in the fact E for you. All right, so the key thing under Muslim art, literature, and architecture, at least on this page, has to do with the influence, the ban on the worship of idols. How did this affect Muslim art? And it tells you you don't have pictures of God or human figures in Muslim art. So some people did not have the correct answer for this, or they forgot to write in an answer. So you should really focus on this part and change it if you do not have the answer that's listed here. If you wrote something about distinctive style, you need to write the example I have right here. After you are happy with your notes on page 2 and think you have good information, you should move on to page 3. If you need to go back to an earlier spot of page 2, now's the time to do it before we move on. So storytelling was really important to Muslims, and if you look at some of the fill-ins here, some of these fill-ins were a little off, especially this last bullet here. But you've probably heard of the story of Aladdin and maybe Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, which the Beastie Boys have a song, Rhyming and Stealing, and it goes, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, and it goes on like that. But my iPod and iPad are at home because I let my kids use them this morning before I left. So I can't play an excerpt of that song for you, although I really wish I could because I love the Beastie Boys. Anyway, so stories were important, and some of the stories from Islamic areas are ones that are part of popular culture or just overall culture today. So for religious buildings, mosques are the place of worship for Muslims. So those in Muslim cities, mosques with the high towers, the minarets, can be frequently seen. And they were influenced by Byzantine buildings. Calligraphy, that came up in the reading notes 10, so you should know a little bit about that. And the calligraphy is what's used to write the Quran in Arabic because they think that it's the highest form of writing, and that's what they want to use to record the words of God. Moving on, we have knowledge. Education for boys and girls listed there. The reason for this education, to study the Quran, to be able to study the Quran. We have a bunch of centers of learning listed. Baghdad, Cairo, Cordoba in Spain, Timbuktu. So just like a lot of places, well, a lot of countries probably have centers of learning. So did the Islamic world, and I think in the United States, Massachusetts, especially the Boston area, is considered a real hotbed of education because there's lots of really strong universities in the Massachusetts, Boston area. All right, I filled in most of the philosophy and history section, but some people skipped over this first bullet under philosophy and history, so I wanted you to write that in because I just wanted you to see that the Muslim scholars used work of other groups of people to learn from and to base their knowledge off of, and you studied all these groups last year: Greece, Hinduism, Buddhism. So that connects to topics you did last year. All right, I'm done with page 3. When you're done with page 3, we'll move on to the last page, page 4. So this page has a lot of important information. We'll start with math. Al-Khwarizmi. He's the reason some of you have algebra to take. Well, all of you will take it at some point, but he is the one who started algebra, Al-Khwarizmi. And if you look at the Arabic word for algebra, you can see there's some similar letters to the English word for algebra. All right, so Al-Khwarizmi was really important for mathematicians. And I wonder if there's a shirt, a t-shirt that Mrs. Mannheimer could wear that has his picture on it or something about Al-Khwarizmi. Wouldn't that be fun? I'm sure she would love that. Anyway, medicine. Building off of Greek knowledge, we have here in that first bullet. Then we have a bunch of facts important to medicine. So make sure you have good facts that are well detailed in this section. So we have passing a test before practicing their profession. Now that seems like a no-brainer to us, and lots of jobs have this. Teaching, probably most jobs. But anyway, so that was something that Muslims did. We had hospitals that were run by the government. Okay, so that was who set them up. We had facilities like ERs today, like we have for quick treatment if you have a severe injury. Doctors going to rural areas and to jails to make sure those people got medical treatment. Improving the taste of medicines, sweet syrups and bitter medicine to improve the taste. I have cataracts, I wrote that in for you on the side. It's treating the eyes, it's an eye condition. Okay, so those are some key facts of the Muslim contributions in medicine. There was a specific doctor who was important, Muhammad al-Razi, worked in Baghdad. And he had a lot of achievements that are listed in Part B. So certain books on topics. You should treat the mind and the body for quicker recovery. So that's an interesting idea that some people believe in today. Treat both aspects. And then the next one, the next bullet, make sure you have the correct answer, because a lot of people were a little off on this one. So, went to Muslim universities in Spain, and then the Arab medical books translated into Latin and were used at European medical schools. That got cut off a little bit. And wouldn't Miss Hicks be happy? Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Uh-oh. Okay. Wouldn't she be excited? Translated into Latin so that could be used in Europe. All right, lastly, we move on to astronomy. And I gave you one fact. Here we go. We have studying eclipses, the Earth's rotation, calculating Earth's circumference fairly accurately, and that's it for this page. So make sure you have good information for page 4, and then it's well detailed. And if you're good to go and made the corrections you needed to or additions that you needed to, then this is the end of the video for you. Before I depart, Will Scott wants me to tell you that he was my favorite student last year in 2014-15. He wanted me to pass that along. Okay, so anyway, that's it. I'll see you next time with Miss Morgan's videos. Bye.